The date.
30th.
The day, the 30th.
Oh my goodness. End of the month already. How fast did this year is just it's not stopping for no man. You know.
Let me see, 4 more months till 2024. That's it.
Dude.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
I was in the grocery store the other day, like last week. They already had freaking Halloween stuff out. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, we're
Yeah.
like almost 2 months in
Crazy.
advance,
They're
right?
already setting up the what is it? The Spirit Halloween.
Spirit store, yeah.
Oh, are they? As long as they don't skip Thanksgiving. That's my favorite holiday. It's always disrespected,
I see you like to
man.
eat, huh?
Yeah. It's grub time, man. I'm trying to get these gains. Always skip Thanksgiving.
Do you?
Straight to Christmas. Yeah, everybody always goes straight to Christmas.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't see many Thanksgiving decorations.
It's crazy.
They don't care. They
I don't care at all.
Man, so to the 30th of August, we got some real estate updates, man. I got some numbers for you for Fresno, California, housing market status. Got a great show for you guys today. Got a great guest, but we'll get into that shortly.
Yes. Welcome in. Heat Speakers.
Heat speakers, baby.
Episode. We're coming up on a year. In
Has it
December.
been?
Pretty close. Wow. We're right around the corner.
How many episodes you guys shot yet?
Lost track.
So many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
we're
is 30 plus, maybe.
Yeah.
30 plus. Do one a week.
I don't know if it's 30,
20 then.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
At least.
One. Yeah, we aim for weekly. I think some we do twice in a week. You know, just depending on guests and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if we get 52 in a year, that's one per week. So I think we're
Wow.
we're
We're
4 months
trending.
out. So
We're putting out some videos out for sure.
yeah.
Definitely getting videos out. Well, let's get into the market, the real estate data, man. Let's let everybody know what's happening in the market, and then we're gonna get into a great podcast today we got planned. Where do you want to start, man? Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the bad news. Rates are still
Is there
climbing.
any good news? And
Nah,
really,
no good news.
is there good news?
Let's just start with the bad news. Rates are still climbing. For FHA, we're going to be sitting, 7.2, 7.25, to 7.5. That's FHA. VA is pretty close, maybe a little bit below that. Conventional, man, you're getting close to 8% there. Wow. And again, these are on mortgage loans, so we're looking at, borrowing $300,000 at an 8% interest rate does a lot to that payment.
Yes.
It does a lot to affordability. A lot of families already know this. A lot of families already been dealing with this. This past month was the third time in a year that we hit 7% interest rates. So it's nothing new to anybody, but we aren't seeing that decline come. Not yet anyways. So what does this mean for buyers? There are some advantages out there when the rates are higher like this. We are looking at having more negotiating power because there's not a whole lot of buyers in the market. We're seeing affordability hit people and cause them to leave and sit on the fence.
Yep.
When they do that, that means that less buyers are putting in offers on homes, which means asking for $5 to $10,000 in seller credit is very, very common.
Yeah.
So and then that can do a lot. That can take you out of the sevens. If the sellers give you $5 to $10,000, you can use that money to buy your rate down and get out of the sevens and back into the sixes. So
what's the best rate you've probably quoted the last couple months that you've seen that buy down and
with the buy down,
yeah, just in general, like what's
six
the,
even.
Six even. So
Six
that
even.
is possible then.
It is possible, yeah. They did get substantial help from the seller. They did pay for a little bit on their own to get it down that low.
Yeah, I like to explore the path because there's a lot of buyers out there, looking to buy, but they just know the rates are high. We should provide some options, some
Absolutely.
ways to where they can actually get a lower rate and it makes sense. I was thinking this too, like a lot of homeowners who own a home, a lot of it is a lot of owners, they don't want to sell and buy because they get a higher rate.
Yeah, they're trading at 3 for 6. Yeah.
However, if they're going to have enough capital, so they could have funds to technically maybe buy down the rate for their next purchase to where it could make sense at that point. I don't know if there's so many credits on the, as lenders can give or whoever, and as realtors.
Yeah, there's
can
a max.
Maybe okay, there is.
Yeah, there's a max on how many credits you're allowed to get from the seller. There's a max on the dollar amount you're allowed to put out of pocket to buy your own rate down. Mm-hmm. So there are maxes on these things. If you're wanting to buy the rate down on your own, we have to be mindful of an HPML test. It's a high price money loan. So it's possible we can fail that if you're putting down your own $15,000. Now your total closing cost is $30,000, which happens to be 6% of your loan amount, that's a no-go. You know, because you know, contrary to 2008, there are regulations in place to help buyers not get screwed over. HPML is one of those. So,
Gotcha.
So that you're only allowed to buy it down so much, even if you had more money and you're like, no, I want in the 4s.
Yeah,
Well,
it's only so much you can
you're
do.
gonna have to get help from the seller, combined with what you can buy down,
Yeah.
and there's still maxes on all of that. So.
Yeah, but again, it could still be significantly less than
significant
7,
better.
so to where it just makes
Right.
sense. So I think exploring those different options will definitely help homeowners. Maybe give them more incentive to even try, like, you know what, like, why not buy your new home, your next house, you know, move up or downsize, because there are ways you can get a lower, you're not going to get the 3%, the 2% you probably have currently. However, you know, it might make sense, you know, you might get like mid 5s, you know, low 6s could definitely make potentially. So
That's a big difference in payment.
right,
Big difference.
if if the payment's there, you know. Well, that's last thing before I get into the home values, median values. Do you feel there's going to be any relief in rates, bro? Like coming up within the next? Is there any indicators? I mean, I know you can't really project when rates are going to come down, but in your opinion, within the next couple of months, you see anything coming down or?
Yeah, rounding out the year. I think we're at the height or pretty close to it right now. Mm-hmm. You know, going much higher than this is not sustainable. It's going to halt a lot of buying and selling. Already has. You know, transactions are just down. So once the spending stops, that is exactly what the Fed's trying to do by increasing the rate, is to slow down the circulation of money and decrease the rate of inflation. So once that starts to happen, we'll see that drop start to happen. And we don't need a Fed drop or a Fed decrease in order to see mortgage rates drop. You know, so if you're waiting to see that hit the headlines that, you know, oops, the Fed now 3 months later, after raising the rate and doing a rate hike, 3 months later, now they're dropping it. We on the mortgage rate side don't need to see that rate decrease in order for the rates to get better. Right. So yeah, I do see rounding out the year, beginning next year being better. Now, better is a relative term. It's not too hard to get much better than 7.75. You know,
right.
So, but if it's better, yeah, I do see that. Around the corner, not immediately, but I wouldn't let 0.5% stop me from building equity now, you know, and taking advantage of a refi 12 to 18 months from now.
Yeah, inflation's definitely coming down. It's definitely getting under control. So I think with the confidence of that, and I think we should, like you said, we should see rates trickling down towards the end of the year. I would like to see them sub 6.
Oh, that ain't happening before the end of the year.
I mean.
That's a huge decrease.
It is. It's over a point, but it could be, you know, low 6s might be okay. Will be, you know, I mean, anything, any relief possible, right?
We don't want this pendulum to continue.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Because right now, I feel like we're here.
Yeah.
And if we drop real fast, now this pendulum is coming back, and eventually it's going to come right back. But so we'd like this to, you know, just slowly ease back.
One last thing before we get into the podcast and the values. I heard something this morning about there's talks of I think it's HSBC Bank.
The bank.
They're going to start a 40-year mortgage.
We've had them.
They're rolling that out. Man. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that? I mean,
most of them are built like this.
That could bring demand too.
It could. Yeah. I mean, it's going to lower your payment, but most of them are built like this. 10 years. The first 10 years are interest only.
HSBC. I'm sorry. HSBC.
Yeah. The majority of them are built like this. The first 10 years are interest only payments, and then you start a 30-year amortized.
Got it.
You know, so.
But it makes it more affordable, and more buyers are coming out.
It does. The first 10 years, you're not paying anything towards your principal balance. Yeah. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them are built that way to make it affordable.
But then that will do the opposite effect, I believe. Like, it'll create more demand, and then prices will surge back up.
Yeah.
In the housing, right?
Yeah, and that's not the issue we have here. We have an issue with sellers. We have an issue with inventory, not buy. I mean, I still talk to a ton of buyers. They just prefer not to buy, but I still talk to a ton of buyers.
Yeah. Me too.
So we don't have a buyer problem. There's buyers everywhere.
But a lot of these buyers are sellers in disguise, and that's, you know, so to unlock that inventory that we're missing, that move up buyer, right, or move up seller, or downsize seller, it's going to take something.
Yeah.
So it may be that 40-year more. If it was, I heard they're rolling it out in the UK, I believe. I don't know if it's going to be in America yet, but if one of these banks offers it, it could entice
Canada? I think it's in Canada. too.
Canada. Is it Canada?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
my
Canada.
bad. Maybe Canada. Okay.
I think it might be both.
No,
but,
I
yeah.
think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that could entice maybe hopefully potentially owners to that want to buy, want to downsize or upgrade. It could pull them out if they're like, oh well, 40 years is going to make sense. Now we might see more inventory coming to the market from there. So
Yeah, potentially.
potentially.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I just want to leave you guys with Fresno. I'll leave Fresno City median home value. We'll go year on year. That way, you guys got the numbers. So, currently, right now, August 30th. Right now in Fresno, California, Fresno's proper, the city, the median home price is $440,000 currently today. Yep,
Solid.
440. Are we a little? I want to say I felt like last or a couple weeks ago it was 450. I want to say. Maybe I could be. I'll look back at it. Okay, but as of now, 440. But hey, year on year, we're up. Last year, August, this time, median home price was 417 here in Fresno. So we are up year on year as far as home price median. What else we got? Median days on market here in Fresno. Median days are 28 days.
That's up.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit up. Yeah, still under a month though. So. But still a strong, pretty strong sellers market here. We're witnessing here in Fresno, Clovis areas. But so we're just low in inventory. That's really causing a lot of things in the rates. People are just kind of staying. In this type of year, typically, every year trend. By trend, real estate trends. This time of year, the second half is usually slower anyway. You do see less sales. However, I got a feeling, and I'm gonna just put it out there. I feel like it's going to heat up. We're going to do more transactions the second half towards the end of the year than we did the first.
My second half has already been better than my first.
Right.
Yeah. It's
what's interesting
better.
is I kind of was feeling that in the beginning of the year, like January. I was already thinking something was just telling me for some reason, and I just don't, it could be a couple factors, but I just felt like the second half of the year is going to be a lot better than this first half. The first half we were coming off of the high rates from last fall where it just shocked the market, went way up to, we went up super fast, like a point or so within a month or so. It was just crazy.
Yeah, it was bad news every day.
Yeah,
for about
so it
30
just
days.
it was a halt. And then we came into January really slow, and then eventually it started, picking up a little bit. Rates start fluctuating. But I feel like, as we end the year, we're going to see more transactions happening. So
I hope you're right.
Yeah. It's a good time. The opportunity is here because there's not a lot of buyers. There's buyers out there, but it's still not a whole bunch. It's not crazy demand. It's demand, but it's not crazy. So there are a lot of cases you can find some deals. You can, negotiate the price down, get seller credits to help with your rate. Just being creative, finding different ways to make it make sense for you. So there's that. There we go. We got the Fresno. Anything else you want to add?
No, nothing more on that other than this young man here in the middle.
Yes.
Who is not in the real estate industry, but is well versed in it due to his position. We have Mike here. Mike, with what's the name of the photography?
Irie Productions.
Irie Productions.
My last name and then Productions.
We got Mike Irie in the building. Guys, he is usually the man behind the camera.
First time in front of it.
Yes. And you would not believe how old he's a youngster. You're like, what, 20?
Just turned 19.
Just 19.
Yeah.
Can you guys believe that? So let me just prep it. I don't know if you guys seen the little show that I've been doing, the Business Network, but he films that. He films a lot of agents and some lenders and a lot of people here in the area. I'm sure you've seen his work. You just didn't realize it was this guy behind the camera. He does amazing work, and a lot of other things, guys. So we're going.
I believe we have Mike on here as a very short cameo.
Yeah.
We did. With Sam.
With Sam. Yeah, you guys asked me, I believe.
Shout out to Sam O'Kenny.
Music choices, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out
music
Sam.
choices. That's right.
Yeah.
So okay. So you're following this update here a little bit, even though you're not necessarily in the industry. Do you work with a lot of real estate professionals?
Yes, I do, and I do see the impacts of what everything is going on and how it affects their business or people around them. So
Gotcha.
Got it so
Gotcha.
far.
So a lot of what we just said, you
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
you're
I
hip
see
to
it.
all
I
that.
see
You're
it.
hip to it all. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good.
So like I said, he works with a lot of real estate professionals now, doing their videos and you doing podcasts yet, or just mostly?
Not yet. I primarily focus on shorter form content, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So helping people promote themselves on those platforms.
Yeah.
How'd you get into that, man?
Um, honestly, it was when I think about it, I don't really know. So I was
You just fell into it.
Yeah, I just fell into it.
That's how it happens.
I was in a photography. Got into it about my senior year. Got my first camera. Thanks to my grandma.
Okay.
Got my first camera. Sort of spent that whole year just, more focusing it as a hobby, just taking pictures of my friends. Of whatever I could get my hands on. So that, and then my senior year, I had a car. The end of the senior year, sorry, I had I believe it was a 2009 Honda Accord. I had that for about 6 months, and then decided to sell it, and then put all that money into my camera gear.
Oh,
And then,
okay.
So I met with one of my good, how would you say it, friends, mentors. Samuel Kenya, you guys had him.
Yeah.
And then started with him. So started doing video with him, and then from that point on, just sort of fell into working with everybody I do today.
Okay.
That's about it.
That's awesome, man. So how long have you kind of been on this path? Because you just graduated high school, I feel like yesterday or something, 2 days ago or
That's
something.
what it feels like.
Just turned 19,
But,
so
a little over a year now, about 14 months.
as a senior in high school, was this a path you already knew you wanted to take, or was college or another path, was that ever in the plan, or you were like, you know what, I want to be entrepreneur, I want to be a business owner, I want to get in a film?
So entrepreneurship was always, top of the priority list. I never really thought I'd fall into the position I am today, but I guess that's how life works sometimes.
Yeah.
And
as far as what position, like working with?
as far as just videography, photography.
So that wasn't one of your things that you were thinking
not.
about doing?
No, not
got
at
it.
all. I just always knew, I wanted to be self-employed. Always wanted to kind of live life on my own terms, and then life just has a way of working itself out. So then I fell into this whole path, and I couldn't be more blessed than I am, but still striving for that top position. So
There you go.
And what is it like? Do you know exactly what? I know you probably dabbled with a couple different, businesses and things like that. What are some of the things that you've already kind of looked into that you consider doing, like video, like drop? I think you did drop shipping a little bit, or no? Did you ever?
I
Start
wouldn't
with
say
that?
I did it. I've tried it. Haven't tried it long enough to say whether I like it or not, whether it works for me or not. But that is eventually what I would like to transition into is e-commerce. Online commerce. So with the skills that I have in video editing, disclaimer, not a professional at all. I do not consider myself a professional, but
It looks professional.
I appreciate that, but I do take pride in the work I do, helping people grow their business, but that's the route I'd like to take in myself, help scale my business, when that time comes. So
Get you a bigger piece of the pie, huh?
exactly, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Staying on that same topic, getting you a bigger piece of the pie. Would you say that the people that you work for or that you're working with creating this content, would you say that this content is helping them get a bigger piece of the pie? Like, how important do you think putting this content out and shooting it and editing it to the quality that you do, how important do you think it is in this day and age?
Especially today's day and age, like you just said, it's very important. I always hear people say if you're not, on social media, then you don't really have a presence, you
Right.
know, and that goes for everything. So just being, having that social figure to create that trustworthiness and the people around you, the people that you work with, your clients, it's very important to, just overall building yourself and your business. So definitely important. I have seen, I have heard a lot of success, even, you know, with myself, the small videos, you know, I post myself. I do see that growth, even though I'm not, you know, taking it as serious as other people are. So I'm sure they're seeing, you know, an exponential amount of growth, you know, on their end. So, you know, definitely important to keep up to date with today's standards.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
all this information and all these news articles and Fed rate hikes and all this stuff happens quickly, you know. So the
Very.
quicker that you can get this content out, the quicker. Do you have anybody that's like, hey man, I need you to like shoot in like an hour, you know, because something just dropped and I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say
Emergency video.
not so much you know, emergency, you know, calls like that, but you know, with Sam, we used to shoot this segment called our Monday Mortgage Update, where
Oh, yeah,
we'd,
I remember,
you
yeah.
know, we'd release the weekly rate,
Yeah.
you know, updates, everything like that. So just stuff like that. You know, I do have some people, we have occurring topics maybe that we talk about, but nothing, you know, I haven't,
Yeah.
you know, had to shoot. So
Talk up a little bit about your like how you grew up, like what, because not everybody just, you know, being an entrepreneur is it sounds sexy and it's a great thing, but it is tough. It's a lot of work, and everyone is not built for it, right? So I'm just kind of curious on you a little bit about your background and how you grew up and what was the inspiration to like, you know what, I just want to work for myself. I want to be my own boss. Talk about that a little.
You know, so a big thing that, you know, that's part of the reason why, you know, I'm in the position I am today, or that motivates me, is my parents. You know, my parents, well, I want to say unfortunately, but, you know, they had me at an early age. So as I got older, I found out the things that they skipped out on, the things that they had to sacrifice because, you know, they had a, you know, third member, you know, in the family, which was me. So, you know, I grew up, my mom, my dad, they were, you know, I wouldn't say struggling, but, you know, there'd be times you know,
Just
you know,
you don't have the new Jordans, or
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So, but I was never in the position to where, you know, we were worried about anything, because we always had that support from, you know, other family members, or, you know, when they started to get their feet going. But that is definitely, you know, my biggest motivation on this journey is to, you know, hopefully be able to provide for them in the end. So, you know, I'd say that's about it.
Were there any like mentors on like you would watch online? You know, we got
Yeah.
the beauty of today's society and the youngsters, like the, you know, Gen Z, millennials, all that. Well, you're a millennial, but you know, we got the power of the internet, right? We can learn anything. I'm old school. I'm the old man here, right? You know, I grew up in a time before internet, where
Before YouTube University.
before
Oh,
YouTube
that's what it
University.
is, yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna sound crazy. About 10 more years, people are like, you were alive before YouTube? Like, yes, there was life before
Man,
YouTube.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much information. I mean, there's a lot of inspiration out there, right? You can actually see people that are working for themselves and being successful to motivate you, and then you can actually figure out, you know, enough what you like and what avenue you want to go down, and just go look at videos, go read books. You know, I mean, it's there. Was there like a certain, you know, motivational person or entrepreneur that you would watch or follow online to like, you know what, this is what I want to do?
You know, not somebody so specific, but, you know, of course I'd come across those videos. You know, there'd be tons of those videos where people, you know, be like, you know, you can make X amount in, you know, this amount of days, however much it was. I remember seeing a ton of videos on, you know, you can make $100 a day. And, you know, me being 13, 14 years old, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of
But,
candy.
you know, now, you know, $100 a day, that's pretty much, I'd say, minimum wage, if I had to guess. But I wouldn't say, you know, like as you mentioned, nobody specific. I just, you know, come across those, you know, those few, you know, key people that did spark that, you know, imagination in me, and, you know, help me get to the point where I am today. And, you know, as you guys mentioned, YouTube University, that's the place to be. So
That's it. Take advantage.
And it's free, man.
free.
It's free.
It's
All
so-
you got to do
yeah.
is change your material consumption from
That's it.
Netflix to YouTube, and you're going to see a huge difference in your knowledge.
Or going from a consumer to a creator eventually.
There you go.
Right.
Content creator. Yeah.
And that's the part. I think it's so much out there, and it's the discipline that you got to have to where I'm not going to watch these TikTok videos. I'm going to go in and watch, something that's going to help me develop a skill,
Yeah.
But it is there. It's available. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of how
Always,
how much that person really wants it, and to learn. So, man, it's so talk about a little bit. So just 19, so are there a couple other businesses you've tried out so far?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, of course, every kid has a story. They sell candy, chips, whatever it is at school.
Let's go. Talk about it.
Was, that was one of the starter ones. But
Okay.
I'd say one of my biggest eye opener was I'd say about freshman year. I started painting shoes. So
What high school did you go
to Mission Oak in Tulare.
in Tulare? Okay.
Fairly newer school, I believe, established probably 2008, 2009, something around that time. But so yeah, that was that was my first actual business. Started a social media page for it. Painting shoes, custom shoes for anybody. Started with friends, of course, and
Wow.
just any pair I could get my hands on. But eventually, I started to get some people to hit me up to do special orders, shoes, whatever. It wasn't a huge business, and I quickly found out there wasn't enough desire for that in my town, and it was hard for me to kind of grow out of that or to expand out of that. I couldn't drive, I couldn't get to other places, other towns. So and it wasn't really my passion. I do have a buddy, he's very successful in that as of now. That's his passion. But it wasn't mine at the time. So that was the first business I had, and I'd say that was the only before I started this venture, the only one that I've had. So that's about it. Just shoes, and I'll transition into what I'm doing now. So
It seems like you've always had that spirit, that entrepreneur, that business-minded
For sure,
spirit
yeah.
inside you. So it's just a matter of it as it get developed and as you try new things, as you move forward. Like you're only 19, bro. Like so, you got so many years to,
To fail.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
that's not a
Gary
bad
Vee would
thing.
say,
well,
fail. Just keep
Yeah,
failing.
I'm not wishing that on you. I'm just
But,
saying you got
right.
plenty
I
of
know-
years.
I know
you know
what's
what I mean?
coming. I know
Yeah, you
what's
know what I
coming.
mean? Like
Yeah.
this, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's not common to start that young.
Man.
Not that there's anything wrong with
No.
getting a career job at 21 and working until you're
Absolutely, yeah.
51. There's to each their own. But the level of flexibility, which also comes with the level of stress when you're building a business. But the level of flexibility is just, man, it's unparalleled.
Yeah.
Especially once you start a family, start having kids. You got your serious girlfriend or fiance or wife that you got to take into account their schedule. Dude, having that flexibility
Right.
with running your own
Sure.
business is just it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It is, and that's what I'm trying to take advantage of. There's been so many times tempting. I want a new car, or I want to buy X, Y, Z. All this, but I do practice that delayed gratification because I know if I have that car payment, I'm not gonna be as likely to take a risk on putting a few $100s into this business or in more camera gear or something like that. So I'm just
invest
taking
in
that
your bill. Yeah.
exactly. So I'm taking that into consideration to
Man.
in order to grow myself, because all that stuff it'll come later down the line. I just know it will, and sustaining from that now will only propel me further ahead. So that that's a key thing to
And
me.
at a quicker pace.
Yeah,
And at a quicker
definitely.
pace,
So,
because you can still get there. Some people still, they reward themselves a little early, or
Sure.
earlier than most people
Of
think
course,
they
yeah.
should
Yeah,
have,
for sure.
But they still get there. But yeah, if you delay that gratification, which you're already doing,
Well, not all of them will
it's-
get there because you got those that they'll get a little money, right? Then they'll go blow it on some toys and things.
it.
The only way to get there is you take some and keep reinvesting in your business and yourself. If
Yeah.
you're not doing that, you're gonna go. It's just gonna dry
Yeah.
up and fail.
On that note, is there any portion of your business that you have not ventured into yet? That maybe it's because you don't have the equipment, maybe it's because you don't see the demand right now. But is there any portion of your business that you kind of thinking like maybe let me get some more some recurring clients, some routine business, and then maybe I dive into that portion of videography or photography.
Got it. So I'd say some areas I haven't dove into yet. Maybe short form films. That's really not.
Okay.
It's always been an interest too, but that's not really my specialty right now because transitioning into marketing and media to a movie, that's a big jump.
Big jump.
But no, eventually something like that or a podcast like this, I'd like to be shooting something like that. So further down the line, I've already started to accumulate certain some gear, that way I can have the ability to shoot like different type of scenery and stuff.
To even have the ability to produce the product. Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All
Yeah,
right.
and we're going to talk off air because we're looking to definitely improve our podcast every time. So
Yeah.
we're getting to roll it out, and it's going to just get better and better. I was going to ask you this too because I know I commend you big time, man. Because I remember when I was 19, like business, even talking to anyone that's over 25 was like maybe intimidating, or they just seem old. Or I wasn't interested. However, you're navigating the business and dealing with like like you said, realtors, lenders, just older professionals. Were you intimidated at first? I mean, just everyone, being around everyone that's older and dealing with like like you're a kid and you're around all these grown up people. So how do you feel like?
Very, very intimidated at first. I'd say, about 8 months ago, last year around this time, it wasn't hard to keep a conversation, but starting the conversation was the big part. But now I keep in mind or realize that, this next person that I'm going to talk to or pitch my ideas to, that could be, the life-changing event that happens. So you just got to keep that in mind, keep rolling through life and just realize, what's the worst thing that could happen? They say no. So, you know.
Damn.
Okay. Do you feel like, do you feel like anyone ever treats you different? Do you feel like people don't take you maybe serious because of being so young, trying to, do business with older, people, professionals?
I wouldn't say so much. It really just depends on the way that you carry yourself. I try to carry myself in such a manner that I do appear as someone that's more experienced than I actually am, or at least in the business aspect. Because I know that there's tons of videographers that are levels ahead of me in certain aspects. But as far as like carrying these high level conversations, that's what's really gonna kind of stand out is people don't really realize my age until I tell them. So
right.
I get a lot.
Yeah, I didn't at all.
And we've been working together, and I've been thinking you're 20 this whole time. I'm like, he's at least 20, but no.
But going back to that, that's probably the biggest thing, just how you carry yourself in front of people. So
good advice. And you're a huge inspiration, whether you know it or not, to every kid your age or even a little older, youngsters, young 20s and teenagers. Like to see you actually moving forward. You're walking the walk. You're not just talking it. It's easy to sit back and say, oh, I'm gonna do this and this and that. You're actually navigating it right now, which is
but definitely
it takes a lot of courage and a lot of heart, man. Because like I said, I know if I was your age, I'd be, I don't think I'd be able to talk or even interested to talk to older people about business. I just, my mind went somewhere else, but I commend that. You got any, go ahead.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for a little while now. Business is growing. You got some steady clientele. Are you seeing like a saturation of material coming out, or are you filming some of this and being like, damn, I feel like these guys are reading the same script, like what's going on here?
Because he works with a lot of realtors, huh?
Well, it doesn't matter what, whatever profession, if you're restaurant owners, if they're all saying the same thing, whatever you're doing. But I mean, I know you work with a lot of real estate professionals.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Are you seeing that at all, or are you seeing this content come out and just value after value, everybody something different to say, or what are you noticing as far as from this standpoint? Because some of these, some people may be interested in how you started, and they may be your young age, but on the flip side, some of these people you're working with, they might be wondering, well, do I splurge for Mike, or do I get him behind the camera, or would I just be doing the same thing? So, what are you seeing?
So you mean saturation as far as just the content, or the
the content?
So
the style, everything?
Yeah, I'd say style is always changing. You just have to keep up to date with the new trends. So I'd say saturation really just depends on the type of engagement you can bring in, because somebody could have some really valuable content, but be so monotone in their speeches, or have the exact same intro every single time, and that'll push away a lot of people. But on the flip side, if someone way less engaging, or sorry, that has way less knowledge on that subject, but is far more engaging, they will be able to pull in,
tend to get more clicks,
that same audience. Yeah, exactly. And just be able to engage that many more people. So I would only see saturation in basically your ability to engage people.
Okay,
that's interesting.
Do you provide some of that behind the scenes, like, hey man, let's shoot that again, but try to do this or do that? Do you kind of get involved in that production side of it as well?
Yeah, I'd say so. I only really get involved in like the introduction, stuff like that, because I let them speak their knowledge, whatever they want to bring to the table. But as far as that engagement in the first 3 seconds, that's what really matters. That's what I prioritize, and pushing towards the people that I work with to really grab that attention of their targeted audience. So
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. He helps coach a little bit along the way as well, just to make sure.
I
know I'm always asking. I'm like, hey man, let me
good,
tell me straight
good.
up if it doesn't, if it ain't good, if it's not good, let me know. I'll do it over.
I wouldn't say coach just yet, but just those small recommendations that I do see along the line. So
that's very valuable, because
absolutely,
because some filmer videographers may just shoot and not tell you anything, and you get it and you're like, whoa man, I don't know why I did that, or I should have been standing this way, or I shouldn't have said that, or I stumbled saying, we need the feedback. It's definitely helpful.
Do you prefer that feedback? Like if somebody's asking you questions like, hey man, what should I do here? Or would you prefer like to be told, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and you're just kind of sitting there shooting, like, or does it not matter?
Yeah. I do like the feedback, actually. So I always tell people that they're not my client, I'm not their client. We work together.
Okay.
So we both pitch in the same ideas, or stuff that can improve on each other. Maybe I'm doing something that they want to be improved, or vice versa. So I'd say feedback on both ends is definitely key to making good content.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The team all on the same page.
That's
that
it.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I want to get into, we got a new segment, guys. It's called Heat Topics. We're about to get into, and we're about to bring some fire, a little controversial. It's going to be interesting. But before we do that, is there anything like you would like, anything you would say to someone, your age or group or whatever, if they're considering, they're a little hesitant in doing business, they don't know, they're listening to their parents, they're like, I got to go to college, even though I feel like I should, be an entrepreneur or working for myself. What would you say to them? I mean, any encouragement or something?
I wouldn't push any narrative as of now, but I will, tell my part. My parents were big on college, and me going, and I did go, for a month. But I very quickly figured out that wasn't for me, and I would just say, to those on the edge of either or path, just make sure you have a plan. That's what I had. I did have a plan, and that's why I was able to, leave that space and be able to venture out on my own, because I did know what I was going to do. I wasn't hesitant, and school's always going to be there. I always tell myself that too. Further down the line, next year, 10, 15 years from now, it's always going to be there. There's always those online courses, you see on TV or whatever. But, take that risk. Like you guys had mentioned, now's the time to take the risk. And, I have little to no responsibility, no family to take care of. Yeah. No car payment, house payment, at least not yet, but, just take that risk.
100%. I would say most important as well, along the same lines, is if you are, I would say do it rather than talk about it.
Yeah.
Like Mike's doing. He's walking the walk and not talk the talk. So if you just start going, figuring out what it is you would like to do as far as business, learn as much as you can. Start, maybe reach out for internship, someone in your area that may be doing what you want to do that's successful, because all that will show your parents like that you're serious and that you really want to go down this path. By just saying, oh no, I don't want to go to college, I just want to be, I want to have my own business, I want to do this, but there's no action behind it. It's going to be really tough for your parents to really believe that. They're going to say, okay, yeah, it sounds good, but yeah, talk about it while you're at Fresno State, and then we'll we'll figure it out then. But if they see you actually taking a leap, actually putting things in action, getting started in it, building that business, they'll see that it's real, and they'll
for sure
likely start supporting it. I know I would, and then you might see an opposite affect your parents. I'm like, oh, you know what, man, you're doing all this on your own. Okay, we're gonna help you out, right? If they see that you're serious, right? So I think a lot of it is showing rather than saying.
And as long as you're confident with it too, just take that risk. There's this saying, always said by my mentor Sam. A wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from the mistakes of others. So, when you do take that leap, go ahead and, buy that course, buy that book that's going to help, propel you forward in your industry. That way you're not stuck, on in a situation or problem that has been solved, hundreds of times already.
Sure.
So,
yeah, that's smart.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, man. You got anything you wanna?
Yeah, last question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
How long you say you've been doing this?
14 months.
14
I'd say
months.
About 14 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's say another year and a half goes by. Your business doubles. You're about to be 21. Are you fully capable of taking that on, or are you looking to hire out? Where's your expansion mind at right now?
As far as video, definitely hire out.
If it doubles, you got to go. Okay.
When it doubles.
Is that 21-year-old's ready to be the boss of somebody older or younger than them?
Man, I think so. I think
you got a lot of learning to do on this. We're like, okay, all right, it's game time.
I would say older. That'd probably be a little bit more intimidating. Your first hire is like maybe 30. They're like, hey, I want a 34, 35. Get married with kids. I want
That's
now you got to kind of tell them what to do or work with whatever.
Yeah, I'd say I'll be ready when that time comes. As far as video is another monster than photo by itself, because you're taking still photos, just editing it, that's it. But video, you have to script it, you have to edit, you have to make sure the colors are all the above. But as far as photo goes, I pick up some gigs here and there, fully ready to tack that on. But, as far as video, when that time comes, when it doubles, I'll probably definitely be looking to hire out, at least virtual.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's good. That's good.
Well, man, we're proud of you, man. I know you're going to do it. Just stay with it. Keep doing the great things, man. By the
Looking
time you're
forward
our
to seeing
age, man, you should be 7-8 figures, man. Just really roll,
I'm ready to see that production, your sign at the bottom of all kinds of just trademarks all over the place.
Right. Yeah, man. Well, let's get into this segment, guys. We got a new segment on the podcast for the Heat Speakers. It's called Heat Topics. We'll cover a couple different things. The first heat topic, guys, that came up, it's going to get hotter each topic. Let's talk about cancel culture. What's your opinion? What are your thoughts on cancel culture? I'm sure everybody knows what that is by now. You're in a public eye, or maybe not. You do something that I guess the masses feel that it's not appropriate or the right thing to do. Now you got everyone on the internet, everybody, talking down, maybe not supporting you, really kind of labeling you like an outcast, right? Because of whatever wrong you did in your life. So I don't know, just something I thought about. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Any thoughts?
I guess
right, wrong.
Yeah, it just depends. What type of person you are, what perspective you view. The actions that are taken online. Like it really does depend, because a certain narrative being pushed online, if the if group B, got a hold of that narrative and they're saying, oh, this is bad, this is wrong, then that's when the mass, then pushes it out, as what it was originally, spoken for. So, that was wrong. But if Group A was saying this is right, so and so speaking up for themselves, then I believe, that's the narrative that'll be pushed out. So it really just depends on, the topic and who's saying it. Publicity is a big thing when it comes to cancel culture. So
it is. There's a lot of media behind it. You can do something, say something maybe against LGBTQ or something that's just not what a lot of people feel should be said, or what's the word I'm looking for? Quote unquote, politically correct, right?
Right.
Then everybody goes against that person. They like, hey, we're done with them and this and that.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts or opinions?
Yeah, I think
on that
I think the ironic part of that question on a podcast is that asking that question is exactly what can get you canceled, which is crazy. Like you can't even. There's so much hypocrisy in cancel culture that honestly, I don't think anybody should be calling out anybody, because anybody that's got something to say about what somebody said or what somebody did, or what somebody was filmed doing, if anybody's got something to say, I think they should be subjected to a full, thorough search of their entire background to determine. Yeah. But that's not happening. That won't happen, which is why so many people pop off, is because nobody's looking into them, because who are they? It's just Rich and Mark on a podcast, and nobody's going to look into them, but they're going to look into, if we say something about, if we bring up somebody, president or somebody saying something, they're going to look into that person. They're not going to look into us. But I think a lot of that stuff will stop if it came with full, thorough background search of everything. Okay, you want to, cast judgment.
Right.
You want to cancel somebody, take away maybe their livelihood.
Yeah. It can do a lot of damage, I mean,
it could be just, we could relate it to this show. Mike could be killing it, and Mike does, photos, or he's filming content for somebody who eventually gets busted. Well, did Mike know about it? Is that Mike's clientele? Well, how many more people has Mike, videoed? Now that, they're gonna start looking at Mike's like, what the hell did I do, man? I got hired to do this job. That ain't.
I don't support that.
I don't know this guy. Yeah, I don't. And so it's just it's crazy. It's crazy to me. But yeah, I mean it's just, to me, cancer culture just equals, in its entirety, just equals hypocrisy to me. That's just what it means.
Contradictions.
To me. Yeah, contradictory. That's just what it means to me.
100. Yeah. I think it doesn't give people I think it's wrong on a lot of different ways, but like everybody grows, right? Everybody grows, develops. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has a thought when they're, a certain age, and over time they learn more information, and maybe they might have those same ideas, opinions about things, or they might change, right? But isn't that what I think life's about? We live and we learn and we grow. You know what I mean? So to cancel someone out if they said something wrong or whatever, okay, true. But let's see, that's a mistake, okay? And if they own up to it eventually, or they realize, or they could stand by those views. I mean, that's just who they are at that time. Right or wrong, we're still not giving people a chance to get better, right? To learn from their mistakes or actions, and to make and change. And that's really what life's about, right? We go through life, we learn from our failures. We learn from things we don't get right the first time, and which makes us a better person, So when you strip that away, it could create a couple different things. That person who get canceled could say, all right, F it, I'm just going to go in the deep end and just be all like this because, and then, everyone's against me now, so whatever. Or a lot of times they start developing different views, or they realize what they did, said, or wrong was, or it could come across the wrong way. A lot of times people are saying things, they might not mean it that way, but it just the context of it comes across a certain way, and so everybody runs with that narrative and truthfully that person. So it really doesn't give a person a chance to really explain themselves.
No, not at all.
It doesn't give a person a chance to really learn from mistakes, to be a better person, and to now go out and really be a force to fix whatever that wrong they did. And lastly, it doesn't give a person a chance to be free. Like, what happened to freedom of speech? Like, is it this America? Like, is it that in the Constitution? Like, is it that in one of our So
on the flip side of that too, there's no freedom to not speak either. I'm on the opposite side of that. If somebody says something to me or says that I did something wrong, to me, I'll be like, okay, cool. I guess, you don't like me anymore. I don't care. That I'm not going to spend my time explaining any of the shit that comes out of my mouth to anybody.
Well, it's a little different. So no, I get that.
You know what I mean?
But when you're a celebrity,
you're not even free to do that because he's not apologizing. He must mean it. I'm like, no, I don't,
here's the thing. I get
it's crazy. So you can't do anything.
Well, here's the thing too. Now, if you say something in the masses, right, and it goes viral, and everybody knows you, they're like, oh, he said that, this, and that. If you really didn't mean it that way, like I just said before, like sometimes people will say something, they mean it, they really mean this way, but it just comes across wrong. So everyone is taking it a different way. And now the internet and everyone's running with that narrative of the way they feel like you took it. I don't see a problem just putting on my phone, hey guys, there's a lot of confusion out there. This is exactly what I meant by that. Just to clear the air, right? And then after that, who cares? It is what it is, right? At least you make your point clear. You want people to know. I don't want to put out something to people think I'm saying it one way when I really don't mean it that way. I want to be clear and concise, and I want people to understand the message I'm really trying to bring. Once I feel like the message I brought was clear, concise, it was understandable, and it is what it is, and those are my real feelings, and they still want to cancel, then so be it, right? It's like, well, or I'll just listen and see if there is something that maybe I missed, maybe I overlooked it, maybe I didn't have all the facts and I spoke too soon, right? All that happens. We're human, right? I mean, we don't get it right all the time. But again, it just doesn't give people to live free. And if there were a real country of freedom and people want freedom of speech, people should have the right to say what they want to say. And other people do have a right to come back and debate it. But let's let it be a debate, and let's really get to the bottom of it. As opposed to like saying, okay, this person, we're done. We're not gonna buy anything. We're not gonna listen to their music. We're not gonna, they're not gonna get any more acting jobs. They're not gonna, it's like everybody against you for not allowing a person to correct what they may have done wrong. And we all do things wrong. So it's just kind of crazy to me. Like, how are we supposed to grow?
Mm-hmm. So that really just depends on how big you are in society. As Mark mentioned, if a person says something to me, so be it. It doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter. But on the other hand, if somebody says something about let's say Kim Kardashian, for her situation, she may have to come out and apologize for whatever or explain herself, because if not, that can definitely hurt, her personal figure, her family, her
brand
situation. So it really just depends how big you are. That's my opinion. That's what I think. So
I think you're spot on, which is why those are the ones we always hear about getting canceled.
Sure. Yeah.
Those are the ones we hear about.
Celebrity,
the
right?
Big brand owners, the big actors, actresses, the athletes. Those are the ones that coming for it, and that sucks. That sucks for them.
Yeah,
because I've seen so many athletes that just go through the ringer. We've seen so many athletes. Well, I mean, if you look, and if you look at these articles, I've seen so many college athletes that never get a shot at the professionals because of something that was said against them, and they spent the next 4 or 5 years defending themselves, and they missed their prime. And they don't go to the draft.
And
it's crazy, and it's wild to me that shit goes.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. There are certain things, like that are just undeniable. Like if you commit a crime or something very serious, and it's fact that it happened, then you shouldn't be able to, maybe move up to the next level or get, the next, it just. But at the end of the day, we're not judges, though. We're I believe in God, right, and only God can judge, in my opinion. So.
Yes, I still would. I don't even view it that way. The same as you. Like if there was somebody that had a history of laundering money, but if they were a good LO, and that was 5 years ago, and I was looking to hire somebody who was capable of handling the pipeline I have, and he was the top candidate, I would hire him. I don't care if you laundered money. Like you're not gonna do it again, right? Like you got in trouble, you understand you weren't supposed to.
Cool. I'm with you on that.
I still wouldn't. Yeah. I would not judge the person for it.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying I would either. Yeah. I'm just saying in that moment, say they just did something, a serious crime today, right? Mm-hmm. yeah, I mean, they're gonna deal with whatever they have to deal with because it was a crime and then it was solved. But if they, like you said, a year, 2 years down the line, they've learned from that mistake and they really, hey, there should be no issues. There should be, because everyone grows, everyone changes. I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago. I've grown so much just as a person and in life. The things I used to believe and do 6 years ago, even I don't do anymore, right? And a lot of it I try not to do anymore, just to be a better person, and because I've learned from mistakes. So again, it's really just allowing people to grow, to learn from their mistakes, to be a better person. And a lot of times when they become a better person, now they could be your number one spokesperson, especially if they're a celebrity, against whatever maybe the misunderstanding was. They can go out and preach to kids, preach to other people not to do this or to do this, right?
Yeah.
But we don't give those people, unfortunately, a chance to even
because they're
transition into that, right? Into that new person to be a bigger and better force for the the community and people. So I don't know. That's all I'll say. Just giving people, So. Anything else on that cancel culture?
I hate it, man.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah, but it's the world we live in,
Sure.
It's so judgmental,
Nowadays.
unfortunately. People, it's easy to sit home on your phone and look at TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and say, "Oh, that person did that, okay," and boom, 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 and go, and throw darts all day.
And you have no relation to them.
No relation, right?
So,
But meanwhile, no one looks at what they're doing. They got all the same people that are pointing the finger are usually the people that have a lot of dirt, a lot of things in their closet that they're doing that is not, right?
Trying to distract,
Yeah. And it's just so sad. It's just unfortunate. But there was another point I was going to make about this too. I wanted to talk about. It'll come out. Any other thoughts?
Okay. I think we hit it pretty hard.
Yeah. Last thing I just want to touch on real quick. What time is it? How much time we got?
5:10 right now. So we got about 15
minutes. Cool. Let me ask you this before I start. You could answer it or not. I know this is on the spot. Whatever. Oh, we got two. And we're going to end the question with the hip hop question. But this before that, girlfriend, married. What's your situation?
Girlfriend.
Got a girlfriend.
I do.
You can answer this if you want, and she might listen.
I'll probably tell her about it. Yeah, she'll listen.
Any plans on marriage in the future? If so, how soon? If not, why not?
You know what? Marriage is a big word.
And you're young. You're only 19, so
yeah.
I know it's kind of maybe. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, but all I'm gonna say is that if that's not the goal in sight, if marriage is not the goal in sight, then why are you with the person? So.
Yes, you have plans of marriage then.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put a timeline on it. Everybody has their own time, but when that time is ready, we'll definitely be, taking that leap. My parents did it. Grandparents, they're married. Everybody. So that's definitely a goal in mind.
It seems like you value marriage
for sure. Yeah. I'm a real big family man, so I believe in marriage and that culture too.
That's awesome because I think that's rare because even when I was your age, I never really cared to get married. I was just, it wasn't nothing I even wanted to do. And look at me now. I've been married, oh gosh, on camera 11 years. 11 years, April 28th. Yeah, cut. Hold on.
Exclude
no,
that
we're gonna
part
cut.
of the
Yeah, we're
video.
gonna edit this right here. It's gonna be smooth. It's gonna be 11 years, April 28th, 2012. Yeah. So, here we go. That's awesome. That's all. Like I said, I think that's rare. A lot of kids your age probably were not thinking about, but you were.
Yeah, and then too. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just being with my partner, it's I see everything else kind of as a distraction. All I'm focusing on is my business and the person that I'm with. I'm not focusing on going out on a Friday night, Saturday night. That's not really my priority. So I find that really do having my partner that keeps me in line with my goals. So that's a big blessing to have. So
how many girls are gonna probably hit us up in the inbox like, hey, who's that Mike guy you guys had on? And all these young kids are like,
I'm gonna be like, did you listen to the podcast at all? He's not interested.
He's not interested.
Boy's not interested.
No, you gotta watch till the end.
No, and the reason I was asking that, and that's really good, man, because the divorce rate is like 50%. or so, which is
I think it's higher.
I'm hearing it's higher. There
Yeah.
are, I just on Google says 40 to 50%, but I'm hearing other, there are studies that maybe 60, but either way, that's super crazy.
Very.
Super crazy. That's so that's why I wanted to hear your thoughts on what you felt, even with those odds. Do you feel like it still makes sense to do it? And
I think so. Yeah, just depending on the person, I really think it makes sense. In my end, I see no reason to, everybody has their own path, their own thoughts, their own ways. But in my situation, I really like to focus on just that one person, and be able to strive, build that generation after generation. So
that's awesome.
That's the goal.
Love it. Yeah. What are any thoughts? And this could go around the table. Like, what do you think could be a reason that 50% or 60% of divorce rate? Like, what? Just kind of hear you guys' thoughts, and I'll give mine too. What you want to start?
That's communication.
Communication. You think it is?
100%.
It's just crazy. Like,
Uncommunicated communication, uncommunicated expectations. It's all communication, man.
Both parties.
Oh, both parties. Both parties. One party. You can't really generalize it, but one party may be on the side of assuming that they should read my mind, and then the other party is on the side that no, I'm just gonna be blunt about it, and I'm not going to ease into talking about whatever issues we may have. So the communication is off, and that's ground zero. Ground zero. If there's no emotional safety there for communication to happen safely, to be able to express myself, express yourself safely, and be heard, bro, that's done. It's a matter of time.
For sure.
It's a matter of time.
And the communication, it's more like having good conversation without getting emotions so much into it. I think that's a big problem. It's like you might start communicating, then within seconds it turns into one party gets upset, and it turns into an argument, a yelling match, which is never resolves anything, yelling. So I think also just sitting, calmly talking, telling both sides, how the husband, giving them space and time to speak out how they feel, and then have the wife, speaking about how she feels, and you guys coming up with solutions to probably improve it. But it has to be done, I feel like, it has to be done just a regular, calm conversation and hearing both sides, and no one getting offended by whatever the other person's saying. So that's a good point. What are your thoughts?
That discipline is very hard to master.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely. But I'd say a big thing too, why I think especially nowadays, in today's society, why it's so hard to communicate or to have that successful relationship is just social media, news. I seen this video the other day show two examples of a couple, the same couple in both examples. One of them, they're happily married, whatever. They're getting home, making dinner together, doing all the activities together. And the other scene, they're the same couple, they go home, they're on their phones, they're just ignoring each other, all of that. They're just on social media, whatever it is. And it's so easy to ask that question, what happened to us, what how we get to this point when all of those small events compounded into that that big event that causes that.
Very true, dude. That's right off of your point, which makes a lot. Man, it goes hand in hand. Communication, and a lot of it part of it is social media is distracting everyone.
And it looks dumb on the surface because, if something happens in the household and you start talking to your close friends and family for advice or what the hell happened, they're caught off guard, because they don't see that. I went and golfed, and we golfed too long, and she just flipped or something, Stupid reason, right? Yeah. But it was definitely more, and it's definitely been building up.
Because sometimes golfing does go to 3 a.m. It just it's like, you never know,
So
you gotta a couple drinks,
golfing. It is not whatever straw that broke the camel's back. That was not the problem. That was never the problem.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
it started way over there.
It's the
Right.
started
It's the
way
build.
over
It's a
there.
lot of things just over time, and
all
then
the-
sometimes it explodes.
The stuff that was communicated that wasn't talked about, the stuff that I felt like saying and didn't have the courage to say, all of that is what builds to. I don't want. We don't want to cook together now.
Right.
We want to watch
So-
2 separate shows, and then it just that's the way it goes.
So maybe one thing, I'm just thinking of things, ideas right now. I can even implement some of this in my own marriage. This is all helpful. Maybe having a certain hour at least after work, after everyone's home, of no phone, no screen time, and just you and your wife or husband just having a talk about the day and just listening to each other's feelings.
Reflecting.
Exactly. Get that good hour, half hour, good hour. And after that, you could be back to your Facebook, back to your Instagram, and whatever. But at least you had a chance to talk, discuss whatever issues you're having, and go from there.
For sure.
So that we're not only discussing topics, guys, we're coming up with solutions and resolutions, right? So we're talking things through. Hopefully, this can help other people out as it helps us. Also, too, one last thing about social media, like you said, I think also too is just so much temptation. I think infidelity is huge as well. Whether it's on the job, you see it a lot, like in the law enforcement. I mean, there's a lot of industries out there where it's really high divorce rate and a lot of outside demand because you're with people of the opposite sex more than you are even with your own family sometimes. Working the long hours, crazy hours. And you're with, so things happen that way. But and then you also got the social media effect when it's like, you're just scrolling, it's just I mean, you can just message people. People are doing all this, I don't even know all the platforms out there, but it just seems like it's easier now for you to not only just see a lot of other women, a lot of other men. It's easy to connect with them or contact, to be in communication with these people. Simple message, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I forgot exactly what it's called. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's the 6 degrees of separation, where through 6 people you're connected to everyone in the world. So it's super easy to be in contact with everybody and anybody, but at the end of the day, it just with your partner, that's just that trustworthiness and that communication, as you guys were preaching about. So
Yeah. It's a lot of factors. We're not going to solve the issue, the divorce rate, but at least we could just to have a talk about it and just
bring
come
it
up
down.
Let's go to 49%.
10%, something like
49.5%. Yeah, whatever. But any other things you got to want to add on this topic? Just solutions or reasons or what you're seeing. I don't know. Is that like that? Yeah. I'm trying to think of another. Yeah, I think that's pretty. Those couple of topics, I think those are those are the huge reasons a lot of times it doesn't work out. Communication and then, just the infidelity doesn't help. Awesome, man. Well, sheesh, got through the heat topics, I guess. Anything else before we get into the last,
I think
the
he
hip-hop
answered
question?
this one last time, but
Did he?
yeah, we'll hear it
Hey,
again.
we
It
gotta
might
hear it.
change.
Maybe
It might
it
change.
changes.
It might have changed. There's been some albums come out
First.
since then.
You are
yeah,
official
yeah.
heat speaker. We gotta give you
Man.
what we always give everyone that comes to the show. You are official heat speaker
There
shirt,
it
my
is.
man.
There it is.
I love the
go.
back, guys. Have you guys seen the back? Romans 12:2. I'll just say this. I challenge you to go check out the New Testament. I don't know.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Romans 12:2, guys. Great.
That's it.
Great
Check
Bible
it out.
verse.
Check it out. Definitely be
Yeah.
repping this. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
So,
Of course. Appreciate you coming on, man, and then joining us. But I'm gonna go take it.
Yeah. Final question. Dead or alive? Top 3 hip hop artists. Dead or alive?
Let's see.
And don't be like Sam and give us 5.
I know, right? Yeah, just the
Yeah.
top 3, dead or
3.
alive. Sheesh.
So that's a tough one, because in my situation, I don't really listen to specifics so much. I listen to a variety, but I definitely have to put Drake up there. Of course, he's been putting out music for decades.
Man,
So
yeah.
he's a good one. Let's see who else. Say Tupac. Gotta put him up there.
And you to be only 19, that's interesting.
Yeah.
To like, okay, I'm sure your dad or mom are kind of influenced Tupac or no? Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I came across that. It's just, my friends, everybody. You know, probably family too. But
Solid.
I can't really think of like a third, but I'll just say that I do listen. 50 Cent, he's a good one because he is a lot of old school music, and he's also a lot of newer school music as well. So 50 Cent or Nate Dogg. I like those two.
We haven't heard Nate Dogg. We haven't heard 50 either, but Nate Dogg, that's a good
Dogg.
man.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P.
What do you know about Nate Dogg though? That's hold up.
I know a bit, but
man, he
don't call me a super fan. But,
actually, you know what? Before we go on, Nate Dogg, I just saw something, but he influenced like a lot of the music today. Like a lot of these artists out here that are doing the singy song, rap, sing type of deal. You guys do your homework, man. Do your history. Look up Nate Dogg if you don't know. If you're under maybe 35, go look up Nate Dogg. He is a legend, and he started all this singing, hip hop singing stuff, rap. So, man, he's a legend. R.I.P. to Nate Dogg.
Yeah. That's a good list. I like that list.
Yeah,
I like that
that's
list.
solid.
I could name a lot more, but you guys said keep it at 3.
Yeah,
I named 4. So.
You're on the Sam train, man.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
He just does what he wants. Hey, I'm gonna give you 5. He didn't ask for 5, Sam.
Right. He just go. We could be here all day. It's so much good music out there.
So much good music
for
out there.
sure.
A lot.
Oh man, anything else you guys want to add? I'm just.
Let's hear it from you guys. Top 3.
Oh man, it's only for guests, man. We don't do that. So all right, guys, thanks for another episode of the Heat Speakers.
All right,
it's been a good one. We've been through that.
Yeah, I'll end up giving the same 3 every week.
Yeah.
Now I get to the point where I'm trying to change it on myself just so I don't give the same one every week. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say there's one guy that's changing the game right now, and I've been saying it. He's been my favorite rapper the last couple years, Lil Russell. Dope artist. Guys, check him out. Changing the game. Independent. Positive music, really, with messages too. He has a lot of messaging, positive messages in his music.
Yeah.
Check that out too. Yeah.
Well, you roll with
I hear it all the time. I like it too. It's dope.
Yeah. He has to listen to it when he's in my car all the time. He's like, Lil Russell again. Goodness Here we go again. Hey.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's it, huh? We good?
That's it.
Yep.
Catch us next time.
Heat Speakers, baby.